It's just work. We're trying not to take it too seriously.
But really, it is your career and you need to take ownership of it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Career Diaries Fall 6. It's good to be back. It's good to see you guys. No, I'm not saying you guys, whatever. But anyway, welcome back. As you would have noticed, it's just Bukola and I. Unfortunately, we do not have a guest speaker today. If you've been following our new series, you know that the past 2 episodes we had special guest speakers with us. Wrapping up that series is just Bukola and I today. We're just spending a couple minutes with you guys, sort of wrapping up the series. The topic we have to wrap up the series is belonging at work. Identity bias and building confidence in a new culture. In starting the series, we had said that immigration and relocation is as old as time. People have moved from one place to another. Some people are just nomadic in nature. Currently, we live in these times, right? And so that's why we're talking about things like this, because there's so many, people immigrating and whatnot. And what used to be your normal, the way you knew things to be, moving into a new country, whether you're moving into a European country or a North American country or an Asian country, whatever. Point is, it's a culture you're not used to, and you would have to learn their ways of working. You'll have to learn their tone. You'll have to learn their body language. You'll have to learn their nuances and things like that. So today we're going to focus on belonging at work, identity, bias, building confidence in a new culture. Let me hand over to Bukola right now.
No, thank you so much, Dickens. And I really love this topic as well, because I think we can relate a lot of it, even from our own personal experiences.
Yeah.
But I think to just start off, so if in general we want to dissect this or bring this over, like there's so many nuances here that we just can come as a shock sometimes, especially if it's the first time working with organizations outside of, say, Nigeria, or even within Africa as well. Like, we all have our various nuances, but you know how we do things and all. We'll start off with culture shock in the workplace. So I think just to set the ball rolling, I'm trying to think of my first culture shock when I joined my current organization in Canada. I'm trying to think of what was a culture shock for me.
Yeah.
Number one, the way they use a lot of words to describe certain things. So I'll give you an example. I remember we were doing a presentation, we're rolling a slide.
Okay.
This will crack you up, Dickens. And I just noticed that, and then the comment was like, "Oh no, let's put that in the graveyard. Let's put that in the graveyard." Of course, I know now. As for a Nigerian girl, now you don't want to do as if you don't know what they're talking about. Hey, God, I was just thinking, Jesus, what is the graveyard? Like graveyard. It related to the presentation. I couldn't fathom. I was like, what does this mean? But I didn't ask question though. Yeah. I just was like, I'll figure this out on my own. So I think so what happened was the thing that they kept there, right? And he could have told me that, let's put it together, graveyard. I didn't know what graveyard was. So I sent it back, for review. And then the person that actually put it in the graveyard. And that's when I realized that the graveyard meant almost like they're creating like a divider, or like a section in the PowerPoint. And then the slides you don't need. Okay. Or maybe you're not quite sure if you're going to use it or not. You then put in the graveyard so that as you view the slide, you can go back and say, do I still need this slide? Okay, then I can take it off. Do I still need it? I can take it off. Okay. That is what graveyard meant to Dickens.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
An example of my own yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I'm just laughing, like, what a term to use. Graveyard. Wow.
Seriously.
Yeah, but like you said, it's one of the things that you hear, especially just being in a new culture, a new environment. Certain cultures are more passive aggressive than others. Some cultures, some people from certain tribes and races are more upfront. They will tell you what it is on their mind, while others are more reserved, more passive aggressive. So I've heard people say things like, a certain culture or race or whatever would say things like in describing, I would say, the assertiveness of another culture, because they don't want to use negative language like aggressive. They will say things like, oh, Kemi is very passionate. So they use the word passionate, and you are there thinking, oh, they're complimenting me. They're saying I'm very passionate. They're basically saying, this person gets aggressive, and gets animated. But you are there, you're this new immigrant that just landed this country, and someone is saying you're very passionate about what it is you're saying, and you're thinking, ooh, my passion is shining through. But what they actually mean is you're aggressive, tone it down a notch. And these are the things that you learn over time. For some other people, I've heard things like when certain people say let's circle back, they just mean dead it. It doesn't make sense, we're not coming back to it, just shelve this nonsense and don't waste our time. You have to learn the lingo. You have to learn the nuances. Some things that in your culture come across as compliments, in some other cultures are just like euphemism, nuances for certain things. So I think for a lot of new immigrants, this is something that hits them. Oh, I thought this meant this, but in this new place it doesn't mean that. But things around language and nuances and whatnot. But anyway, to wrap this point up, I would say that in terms of belonging at work, that's the one thing as a new immigrant that you realize is sometimes you're not all speaking the same language. You're all speaking English. But all of you are saying different, like there's different meanings to the things everybody's saying. You need to learn their interpretation of things, right? And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. No, absolutely, they can. I think it's really important learning the interpretation of things and not assuming. And even where you're not sure, to not be shy to maybe clarify. I know how like in I'll say now Nigeria, I don't want to generalize that all Africans or something, but I think in Nigeria we that feeling of not wanting to carry last, not wanting to feel like I'm the one that is out of it or not in touch, and we just soldier on and be like, what, I will bring it or something. But I think clarifying here, it's really important. You can't just go on assuming and then go on a bandwagon, do what you thought was the right thing, and then realize that what you were doing was completely opposite, or what you were not even supposed to do what you're supposed to do at all. So it's really important. Don't be shy. Clarify. One more example of something that just came to my mind when you're speaking around when I started getting feedback, right, on work. I think we talked about this before in the podcast. I started getting feedback on work and all of that kind of other kind of stuff. And my manager would go on and say, I would reach out, I will connect, and I'll be like, and I'll just be like, okay, yeah, do it, right? Like you would, so go ahead, and then I think the first few times, like maybe like first month or second month, she would then follow up like, oh, have you reached out to this person? I'm like, I know you said you would do it. Oh my God. So I had to learn that, and even when I give feedback to my team members, I'm like, I would, if I would do it this way, I would do it this way, and obviously like, but my point is that's how I now give feedback. Or all of that. So he just wants to share that to like another personal experience. That so but here I would go and do, and they would go and do it. And their feedback run with me.
And exactly what you just said. Like, it's also not a suggestion. They're actually telling you this is what you should do. They're not. It's not. Oh my days. And something while we're on this topic, something else that comes to mind regarding belonging at work is also you start to second guess so many things. You start to second guess your accent. I think that's such a big thing, especially for us Nigerians or Africans or whatever. And that's when we start putting up this phony, and we'll be mixing accents together. British, American, Jamaican, Mexican, we'll just mix everything, all joined. And we've said on this podcast before, like better, water, because you just want them to. So like now, because I'll be talking to me, she'll be saying better. I'll just be looking at her like, sis, please.
I'll be like, Toronto.
Toronto. I'm like, oh God. but like we get it. We understand that, sometimes if you say it's better for us, they might not really understand what it is you're saying. And so you have to assume, a certain accent to pass across your message when communicating. I mean, while I get it, on the flip side, do not second guess your accent as inferior. Now I understand maybe pronouncing certain things the way they pronounce it for the ease of communication. But just thinking that you have to do away with your Nigerian accent or your whatever country it is you're from because you think it's inferior to like the Canadian accent or the American accent or the British accent is not the way to go. Also your tone. I think this is even more in a positive light. And I say this all the time, like sometimes Nigerians, our tone, we can say things like, yay, like just making certain sounds that don't necessarily those are even like if we go back to words, do you know the number of times I've said shy in a meeting or she or Abby? You just get it. So we'll say you shy get it, but yeah, like if even our tone, like maybe Nigerians, our tone is different. It can be misinterpreted, and this is not just a Nigerian or African thing. Even now I remember the point I was going to share. Even like the average Canadian or American tone sometimes can be loud. So I remember one time my friend and I, or maybe a group of us, were out, and I just noticed her tone was sort of like sing-songy, and it was like high-pitched. So I asked her, I'm like, why is your tone so high? Why is your voice so high? And she was like, that's the way they talk, so you have to match it. Like, that's their tone normally, and you come with your normal flat Nigerian tone. They might feel like, one, you're not excited, two, you're not happy to be there, three, they're bothering you, whatever. Mirror their tone. And I'm like, interesting. So sometimes it's the other way around. Like, right? You're not the one with the high annoying tone. Maybe not annoying, but you get what I mean. Sometimes it's on the other side, right? But I think we've overflowed this, so we can move on.
No, for sure. I think overall, what we're trying to say here is, yes, in instances where you need to adapt, and there's always even the adapting to people's styles and work style and everything. That's even from Nigeria. There's certain bosses that this is maybe for example, they are more email people, they're not more of phone call people, they are more see them in person, like even in adapting to people's style. It's the same thing here. That's true. It's the same thing here. Your workplace, people that you work with, it adapting to their style. But I think what we're trying to say here is that don't do it from a place of like, if you don't do that, you're not going to fit in, or you're not equally as qualified or something of that sort. Like, or that is what's going to help you. You need that external validation. You don't need it, actually. You don't. Yes, adapt, but still remain your authentic self.
100%.
Trust me, everybody has an accent. We usually can say, British accent, because yes, it's an accent. There's the Nigerian accent. In fact, there's the Yoruba accent. Everybody has an accent, and it's not. And nobody's out there trying to fit into somebody else's kind of accent. It's just how you speak. So I'm just taking accent as an example. It also boils down to other things, even your dressing, even how you want to, show up. Like, build, like it's all, everything's just what kind of brand, what are you trying to build? How do you want people to see you and perceive you? That should be your focus, not you trying to maybe copy in quotes, or that's what I can get validation from this guy or something like that. Trust me. And the truth of the matter, these things, if you're faking it and not being authentic, they can see through it.
Yeah.
They can actually see through it, and you'll not be looking at one like a foolish person at the end of the day. If you're not, you trying to, and they're not like looking behind your back, you don't know what they're saying, right? So just be your authentic self, do and own what you've got, what you've brought to the table, and when you need to adapt, but remain your authentic self. Seek clarity. Don't be shy for seek clarity. Doesn't mean that you are dumb. Doesn't mean that you are, you don't know what you are doing. But seek clarity, and there are no miscommunications or anything or whatnot. And when something is not right and doesn't sit well with, don't cower in the sense of I don't want to be the one and be like the odd person here or whatever. If there are things that you genuinely feel is not right or is bordering on things that have to do with your own, like it's like, okay, no, this is outright not right, and I feel like maybe it's a personal attack, or you're even setting some kind of form of maybe discrimination or whatever it is. Speak up, like use all the channels that your organization has laid out in terms of reporting things like that, and speak up. Don't cower or that, and then so be afraid, like, oh, if I do this, maybe I'm going to lose my job. But thankfully, countries where also there are employee rights that you can actually exercise as well. So even beyond your organization, if you feel like, oh, within the organization, there's nothing that maybe supports certain kind of reporting mechanism, there are things there are policies outside the organization that you can actually leverage. But I think what we're trying to say that is, don't lower your confidence, build that confidence, own it, the way you've always been driving things from back home. Bring it back here, like bring it here, and don't cower under any form of, inferiority complex or things like that.
I think that's a pretty solid comment, Bukola. I think, identity and bias at work isn't something, it's real, right? Whether we accept it or not, it is real. It is there. And sometimes we feel like, I don't want to put anybody in trouble. So instead, I'm going to avoid this person.
Exactly.
I don't have to work with the person. I'm not going to, if I see her coming left, I'll go right type thing. But no, essentially what Bukola said is what I would echo. The other thing I would say is, don't internalize it. When you are facing bias or discrimination, don't internalize it. Don't feel like, oh, maybe I just don't belong here. Maybe I should look for a more black company or whatever, or a more Asian company, whatever it is. And start feeling like you don't belong there. You do belong there. Your qualifications have put you there. Your expertise has put you there, right? Now, if there are people who are discriminating, like Bukola said, don't shy away from it. Don't shrink from utilizing the right channels to call out the bias and the discrimination. I've heard of very little cases where there's a repercussion for you calling out bias, calling out systemic discrimination and things like that. We are all human beings. You are qualified for the role that you have. You have the experience and expertise. So if someone is, making you feel less than, putting out this verbal discrimination or whatever it is you want to call it, please call it out. Don't shrink, and do not internalize the bias.
Absolutely, they can. I think that's it, right?
I think the last bit is just building confidence, right, in the new work culture. So I think we've sort of touched on it. Do not shrink. And just like we said, remind yourself that you have the expertise, you have the qualifications. This is not a charity case. They did not it's not hand me down. It's not a philanthropic activity that happens and then they fetched you from whatever continent you're coming from. Speak out, like Bukola said. I think also something that has helped me and I'll share is like just talking to people. There are other people from your country of origin or citizenship or whatever who have been here longer than you have been. They understand the system. Speaking to them will help you navigate the system better. If you need to talk to mentors or coaches, utilize that as well. I think these avenues help you build confidence.
Yes, absolutely, they can. I don't want to repeat what you said, but I think, speaking to people really helps. Sometimes you just need to hear that, okay, I'm not the one going crazy here. Like, it's not just me that there's something wrong. I think, that really, really helps. That just helps you to, remind you of certain things and keeps you, in check, in quotes, that, okay, I'm not overthinking it. I'm actually right on point. And that can also further help, boost your confidence as well. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. I think that's about it. Apologies if this, in my mind, I feel like this feels rushed, but anyway, apologies if it feels rushed. But thank you guys for sticking with us this new series, and engaging with our content as usual. Whether you find it useful or not, like, subscribe, share. Do what.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Alrighty. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.